Welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about animation, TV, movies, comics, and more. Happy New Year! And to usher in the new year, we will be looking back at some of our favorite things from 2023. We'll be looking at things we're excited about in the year ahead, and we'll also share some of our New Year's resolutions. I'm Clifton.
I'm Frank Melman.
And I'm Zach Slater.
All right, so for the first segment, we're just going to look back at 2023, pick some of our favorite things we experienced in the last year in pop culture, movies, comics, whatever it may be, and let you know what some of our favorite picks are from the previous year. Who's got something they want to go with first?
I was looking back over the year, stuff that I really enjoyed, that I really look forward to, and that basically didn't disappoint for me. And oddly enough, you recently saw this one, Zach, so we can talk about it now. And that would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So as I told you in text, I was very anxious about this movie because of all the sort of apprehension of the studio with James Gunn being fired and then being brought back. And then the fact that James Gunn was to be the last thing for Marvel for maybe forever, if not the foreseeable future, since he's now jumped to being the main guy at DC. I didn't know what we were going to get. I was very tense, which I don't normally feel that way in movies, especially Marvel movies. But I felt a strong tension going into like, who's going to die? Is it going to be dark? Is it going to be real dark? Basically, I was very, I didn't really fully enjoy the movie till I saw it a second time. Not that I didn't enjoy the first time, but I definitely had a lot of emotion going into it. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, I didn't think that James Gunn would basically like flip the double bird on his way out and be like, "See you suckers," or anything like that. But you never know. It's not one of those things where it was kind of a situation where he had had those things that he had tweeted before and he had apologized, but they got dredged back up. And then anyway, I really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I still think it's probably one of the strongest overall arcs of all of that Marvel stuff. Right. I think for especially if you're juggling that many characters, I think it does it really well. Mm-hmm. What about everybody else? I mean, I know at one point we talked about it as being something I think Clifton had said he was looking forward to. I think.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was one of my picks last year when we were talking about like looking ahead stuff, but no, I certainly was looking forward to it. I saw it in the theater, opening day when it came out, and really liked it a lot. Again, not knowing what I was going to get. I knew High Evolutionary would be the villain. Right. I knew it would connect with Rocket.
Yes.
Not sure what we'd get. We got something very like We 3.
Right.
A little bit.
Yeah. Definitely.
In that like sad kind of way, but like I love We 3, so
yeah,
it fits.
Yeah.
But
if you're unfamiliar, We 3, it's a 3-issue miniseries by Grant Morrison and Quitely.
Yep, Frank
Quitely, that deals with animal experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To like the extreme level. Great miniseries. If you have any kind of love for animals, it's gonna tug at your heartstrings for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely, much like this, if you have any kind of love for animals, it will definitely get to you. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's a book from the same author, Richard Adams, who wrote Watership Down. There's a book, I might have mentioned it on one of these episodes before. It's called Plague Dogs. Mm-hmm. It's very much that vibe too. Like just very heartbreaking book, like anthropomorphic animals in a lab situation. I read that book when I was much younger, and that's what I thought. Like when I saw We 3, I was like, it's like Plague Dog. Like it's got the vibe of Plague Dogs, and this has the vibe of that. So
gotcha.
It's good stuff though.
I got this in just before New Year's. I came very late to the Guardians 3 party, which I was looking forward to it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Guardians movies. I love 2 almost as much as I love 1. I think 1's a little stronger, but I think 2 is one of the stronger ones.
I'm with you on that hill. I'll defend 2 anytime.
I think 2 is great.
Yeah.
And so I've been excited, and it's just harder for me to get to the movies nowadays. So I tend to be behind on just about everything. But just something about this movie where it was like people were like, "Have you seen Guardians yet?" And people were very kindly like not spoiling it for me because I hadn't seen it. But the thing that everybody was saying unanimously across the board, comic geek, non-comic geek, whatever, everybody was like, "Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad." I'm just like,
well, that's not fair. Don't do that.
God, like, who dies in this? You know what I mean?
Right.
I certainly had
right
suspicions the whole time, but I'm with you. I mean, there's like a real like feeling of dread watching.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the other thing about it that I thought was along the lines of Gunn being done was, and again, this is no spoiler one way or the other, was the fact that Dave Bautista was like, I'm pretty much over Marvel. Marvel can go pound sand. I'm done. So there was also the feeling of like, well, does that mean they're just gonna bump him off too? Question mark, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not something I want to spoil for anyone who hasn't seen it. Even if you are late to the party, like some folks, you know. Life happens. You don't always get a chance to watch stuff when you want to watch it. Right. So, but yeah, overall, I loved it. I think it's great. I think it set up some fun stuff for the future. Whoever is going to be the helm of that future for these characters.
Yeah, a couple shout outs I want to do, or a couple things I just want to bring attention to is the high evolutionary actor. I forget his name.
Yeah, he was also speaking of James Gunn, he was also in Peacemaker. He's great in that too.
Yeah, he's from Peacemaker that he brought him over. Like he's phenomenal as high evolutionary. He's very, very good. And I know when we talked a little bit about it that Zach was saying that, you know, you just liked a villain that's bad. Like there's nothing there's no redeeming quality. There's nothing charming about it. There's nothing but bad there. Right. And another thing just about with Guardians overall that I don't think it's brought up as much as it should, and I say this completely unironically, Bradley Cooper is one of the most underrated performers in all of MCU.
Yeah, for sure.
To the point where I forget that it's him. Like I forget that that's not a real talking raccoon or whatever, you know, like I just buy it that much and never think, like I never picture Bradley Cooper in a recording booth doing the voice.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Yeah.
He likes doing it too. I saw some clips of him on Howard Stern where he was talking about it. And
I saw those too.
Yeah. And Howard, you know, Stern's a comic guy too and everything. And he was like genuinely surprised a little bit. He's like, oh, like Bradley Cooper's like into this. Like he gets into the role.
And you can tell. Yeah. It's committed.
Yeah. Chukwudi Iwuji?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. He's phenomenal. I like him a lot. It's one of those, I would be happy to see him do more stuff on either Marvel or DC or whatever. He's very good, but he's great as a high evolutionary.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't disappoint.
I thought Quill was really good in it too. I like sort of the compassionate side to him in this movie. I like that he was the guy that was like willing to like not shoot first in almost every case.
Right.
You know, I thought that was really an underrated point of the movie that doesn't get, I mean, obviously, I mean, because the anchor of the movie is in another space. And I mean, and the rocket stuff certainly is I think the strongest stuff in the movie.
Right. That's the heart of the movie overall.
Yeah, undoubtedly. But, you know, I mean, Star-Lord's got, you know, a great arc in this movie too.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought the other thing about that was I thought it was interesting that you get, you do get so much of it where it's it manages to deal with all the stuff from Endgame, all the fallout from that, and it's one of the few times I caught myself as you know, as looking at the MCU as well as looking at being a comic book fan, the idea that a lot of times when you have a giant crossover, you know, something happens, you know, and a writer is stuck with the idea of like, well, I can't really use that character anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that James Gunn found the best way that possible to make all that work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, based on the trajectory that they had before Infinity War and Endgame, right? So I thought that was something that, again, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I think that was done probably the best way possibly it could have been done.
Right. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Enjoyed that one quite a bit.
So I'll start off my 2023 love fest with My Adventures with Superman.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't surprise nobody on this show, certainly because, you know, for the listeners, I haven't stopped talking about this show to everybody. So I came out with my number one pick, and that's this. I mean, like, you know, we did review the first 3 episodes earlier in the year for an episode, so check that out. You know, we go into a little bit more depth, which will be a fun listen to, because also if you've seen the season, you'll see sort of where we theorize about where stuff will go before having any idea where it's going. But yeah, I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it was more, I mean, again, for me, it was, I felt very kind of Brave and the Bold about it, where I was not as negative, because Brave and the Bold, I definitely was like, this is not going to work. And I love Brave and the Bold, the Batman series that, you know, when I first saw the art for, I was like, I don't know.
Right. You weren't sold.
No, I wasn't sold.
Initially.
And I'm not a big, as you know, as I've said many a time on this podcast, I am not a huge anime fan of all of us. I'm definitely not that guy. But the anime aspects didn't bother me. I thought they worked really well for the series. I love it. I can't wait for it to come back. I think it's, you know, it's one of those things where they're given room to play with the elements of Superman, but at the same time, at its core, it still feels like Superman.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I mean, I like the liberties they've taken with stories and characters. I'm fine with, but at the same time, no, that's Superman. There's no denying that.
It's almost, I think it's the medium. It's the funny thing, because I'm trying to think back to Brave and the Bold also, since you brought it up. And it is one of those things where it's really hard to judge animation when you only get one picture, right? And everything about tone and everything about like where the show is going to bend is just completely your interpretation off of one drawing of what's going to happen. And I'm not saying I didn't feel the same way about Brave and the Bold too. I mean, I didn't feel like this isn't going to be good, this is going to be stupid, but I certainly felt like, well, that's an interesting take.
Well, I mean,
where's that going to go?
I don't. I mean, you can tell me differently, Zach. The idea, like, I don't recall ever seeing like the typical, let's give a sizzle reel or a teaser trailer for that series.
No, I don't either.
I remember seeing one image and being like, oh, ugh.
I don't. Right. Yeah, and it is fun. So like in My Adventures with Superman was like very similar. There was like those two pieces of art that floated for like a year. You know, and then the teaser that we got is like 16 seconds. And that was it. And so it is a little bit sort of like I don't know what this is going to be. Like, this looks sort of weird. And that's like your own insecurities about the thing that's like seeping in, and has nothing to do with like the creators themselves. And I think all this to say, this rant to say, like, I don't know that an animation to do just like a single pinup is maybe the best way to introduce something.
No, I don't think so either.
Right. Because I think it immediately gets people like on the defensive about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's and you know, I'm certainly gonna give any DC thing a chance that comes out animation wise, but I mean, like, pleasantly surprised with this show. I mean, I couldn't believe how much I liked this show.
Yeah,
you know,
we've gushed about it a lot.
Yeah,
in the past year, we did a couple episodes on it. Well, one full episode, and then brought it up again. I loved everything about that one as well. And the style, the music, everything. Like, it was just a big surprise, because again, like, I had similar thoughts where I wouldn't say I was turned off by the image that they put out, that all we had to look at for a year or so before it came out. But I wasn't blown away by it either. So I was just like, oh, okay, that looks okay.
Exactly. No, that was my reaction too. That's it exactly.
Yeah. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, like, I'm really, really digging this. Like, I'm really into this. Right, and I can't wait for more. I have no idea when we're going to get more, but I can't wait for more.
I hope it goes more than just another season. That's the thing. I mean, we know we're getting season 2, and it's just one of those things. Just keep it going.
Yeah.
Just keep it going, please. But yeah, I mean, it had like one of my most like favorite like Silver Age inspired ideas that to my knowledge is not from the comics, but I swear if you told me it was from the comics, I would be like, of course it is. like that's the most Silver Age thing I can think of is what they did. It's like, it's episode, I think 6.
Okay.
In there. And it's I don't want to give away too much, but it involves Lois, and it's awesome because she's the standout of that show, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
Yep, it's a great episode. Great.
Yeah. So go watch it.
Yep.
It's on Max. I think.
Check your local listings.
Right.
Your results may vary.
Right.
For my first pick of my top ones, I'm going to stick with superheroes. So, like, my later ones actually aren't superheroes, surprisingly.
Okay.
But my first one, I'm sticking with superhero. I'll keep the theme going. And that is Across the Spider-Verse.
Ah, yeah.
Which I've also, like, it was one of the things I was looking most forward to. I think it was my number one pick of things I was looking forward to this coming year when we did our last year review. It was this one or Tommy. This, like, we split. We both shared number ones on that one. And this was his or mine. I can't remember for sure. So this one's no surprise. I've mentioned it before when we did a little bit of a recap of what we'd been up to during the summer, because I'd seen it 5 or 6 times in the theater. I can't remember now. I lose track a little bit. I saw it a bunch in the theater, right. And yeah, it's just one I loved. I loved the first one so much, the 2018 one, and this one I've been looking forward to for years, and finally saw it, and like it wasn't what I was expecting in ways, and it was what I was expecting in some ways, and like it just still surprised me and went places I didn't think it would, and it was a fun ride. It was just a fun, unexpected ride for me. So yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It did disappoint. It surprised me. There's a couple points in it where I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I'm always, I'm always impressed when that manages to do that for me. So
we have all seen it now. I think the last time we brought it up, we had not all seen it. So we were a little hesitant. So
I'm going to confess where I'm getting old, which surprises nobody.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get the titles right of those movies from now. I'm going to mix up which one's Into and which one's Across forever.
That's fine. I mean, what's the next one? Beyond, I think was the teaser we got for I mean, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't made it to the, seen the final credits where they tell you what the next one's called. But
I don't want to spoil it just in case there's somebody out there that hasn't seen it, although I can't imagine anybody hasn't. Yes. But man, the finale's good. Man, the finale's good.
Yeah. It's
good.
Great.
God.
A lot of great Easter eggs. A lot of nice little callbacks to stuff that, that again, being a huge Spider-Man fan, pretty much all my life, I was like, oh, that's so cool that they did that and that and that. So there's a lot of really good stuff packed into it.
Daniel Kaluuya as Hobie. Spider-Punk is phenomenal. I was very excited about that going in. That's one thing I knew to look forward to was Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk.
Yeah,
and was a great part of the movie. Other surprises: Spider-Man India was fun. Awesome. The fact that it's Gwen's movie, I really like when you kind of parse it out, because she gets all of Act 1. And then it comes back around to her before the end. I like that it's really kind of her arc of the movie, more than anyone else's. Though other people have arcs clearly as well, but it's just like she's kind of the heart of the movie. This one to me, seeing her world is great, which we hadn't gotten to see in the previous one. I really liked the visual depiction of her world. And then something I hadn't picked up on, but I saw it was Haley Steinfeld, who's the voice of Gwen in these films, as well as being Kate Bishop in the live action MCU, is that she was talking about how like Gwen's world is like a mood ring. And everything changes depending on what she's feeling, like the look of it, the colors, and like the watercolor washes and everything. And like, it's just like, I love everything about her world. And there's so many good, like little things in it. And like just everything they do about it, the flashback of her with her Peter, like at the prom, and like her getting off the subway in a prom dress. Like it's just little things that are just so well done, I think. Yeah, this one blew me away. And that's why I saw it 5 times in the theater. Or 5 or 6 times in the theater. And I own it on Blu-ray as well.
Nice.
It made me buy physical media.
There's kind of, even though she had nothing to do with it, there's kind of like an Andrea Romano feel of it as far as the voices go. Like I think Batman the Animated Series a lot for this, where it's like there's people doing the voices that are just talking and not really doing anything to their voice, and you kind of, I mean, they're all people you've heard of, and they're people, but you don't recognize them. You know, like it's not obvious, like, oh, that's Oscar Isaac, but it's Oscar Isaac and he's awesome.
Right.
You know, like Yeah. It's Mahershala Ali, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
But, like,
Jason Schwartzman. He's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of voices with character, which I think is really good. Just and like everywhere. Gwen's dad.
Right.
Everybody.
So that's my first pick for my favorites of 2023. You got another one, Frank?
I do, and this one was late in the year, so I'm kind of jumping around here. I look forward to this. I'd seen photos, and I kind of stayed away from the plot because I didn't really want to know too much about it and just sort of go in blind. But for me, I was really looking forward to Fargo season 5.
Okay.
Which premiered on FX as well as Hulu.
Right.
Noah Hawley show that basically plays around in the same universe as the Coen Brothers movie, Fargo. If you don't know about the FX show, basically it is it's set in different time periods, but all of these people are within the same universe. So you get moments of background and other characters from in other seasons,
right?
Or you'll have a character talk about a conversation about, for example, you'll have one character talk about Ewan McGregor, I believe, is in season 3, plays 2 brothers, plays twins in it. Well, in another season, one character is I think it's Billy Bob Thornton is talking to another character, says, "Hey, you ever hear the one about the 2 twin brothers?" and blah 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 blah. I don't want to give away the plot, but talks about that stuff. So you get a lot of that things, or you'll have a character in the background. At a younger age, right? Yeah. Or even a location. It could be as simple as someone living in the house that other characters lived in prior seasons. I love it. I think it's great. This current season is Juno Temple's the main character.
Okay.
She's a young woman named Dot. She's got a husband and a young kid, and basically gets caught up in a situation at a town hall meeting. And she gets swept up in a dragnet of people at this town hall meeting that gets out of hand. They run her prints, and then you find out that she has an entire backstory, that her life that she has currently wasn't always her life.
Very noir.
And it's awesome. John Hamm's in it. Dave Foley's in it. I have not seen all of it. There's like an episode that came out last night as we record this.
Right. Some of it made it into 2023 and some of it's still 2024.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's
there's
not done,
one,
right?
Right. There's one more episode. But it's great. It's been really great so far. It's not disappointed. Joe Keery from Stranger Things is in it. John Hamm.
Yeah, D-Joe.
Dave Foley, Juno Temple, Jennifer Jason Leigh. It's great. The cast is great. It's very, if you like Zach mentioned, it's very noir. It's also very Joe R. Lansdale. A lot of times it's a small town person with a secret, which Lansdale excels at, or a small town that's got some kind of crime element, but there's also an underbelly of some kind of supernatural thing going on. And I'm not saying that Fargo dabbles in the supernatural. Right. It's not that kind of show. It's not like American Horror Story. It's just it's just one of those things where the supernatural and the natural world kind of bump up against each other every once in a while. And I'll leave it at that. So, yeah,
I gotta watch this show.
Oh, I think you'd love it. I think you really would enjoy it. But yeah, season 5 has been awesome. I was looking forward to it for most of the year, and now that it's here, it's terrific, and I'm loving it. So.
I'm way behind on it. I've seen the first 2 seasons, and that's all I've seen.
Those are solid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really good stuff.
I've been meaning to get into it for like 7 years, and I record all of them. And I delete them all because I need the space of my DVR. And I'm like, well, it's on Hulu. I'll check it out on Hulu.
Got to make room for more Family Matters reruns.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. But the thing about it, I mean, the one thing about it is, and I will say this from I've watched it in order from season 1 till now. Well, my wife hadn't seen it, and it's one of those, that goes, Zach, your wife will see you watch something and be like, what are you watching? I'm like, all right. And so she's watching season 5 with me, and she doesn't know anything about the series. And what's great is if you just want to watch a season, you can.
Yeah.
But again, if you continue to watch the series, you'll see that, a lot of the stuff connects in weird, sometimes obvious ways. And sometimes you're like, oh, wow, I never considered the fact that that's so-and-so's house, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, yeah, she's enjoying it for what it is right now with season 5.
Okay.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that one I was looking forward to all year, and it's great.
All right.
I have a surprising pick, and it is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Wow.
Right? I know, shocked, right?
Like
What?
Okay.
But here's the shocking part. Sorry, I wasn't done.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm going to say the toy line.
What?
I don't think I've even seen the toy line.
The toy line.
There's a toy line?
My son, Santa, got him the 4 turtles this year. And I am blown away by these toys because it's Ninja Turtles. In some ways, it's exactly the same thing that I grew up on, right? Like I mean, down to the accessories. The accessories all had like, their weapons were all on like these. What I learned 20 years later were ninja racks.
Oh,
a real thing. Like what they, and you know, and all the little like weapons are in there that you gotta pop out, like the throwing stars,
right? Like it's a model kit, and you're popping out pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that was the case 30 years ago when I was a kid and I got the turtles for the first time.
Right.
So exactly the same on that. But when I look also at how they've improved them, still were like all the weapons were like brown when I was a kid.
Remember.
Like now, like all the weapons are painted, or like you know, like the metal looks like metal and the wood parts look like wood and stuff like that, which is really, really neat. And like the posability now, like the sculpts are so unbelievable. I mean, they like mine moved at the head, the legs, and the arm.
Right.
And like and they spun like at the elbows. And this is like the posability. It's like they spin below the knee.
Yeah, I know.
Turn around, they bend at the knee also. So there's like 2 points of articulation there. The ankles move, the wrists move, the elbows. There's like ball joints everywhere and everything. And like the fingers are like they're not like the fingers aren't like glued together.
Okay.
Like you would think, like if you can imagine that, like G.I. Joe, sort of like where all the fingers are together, like the fingers are spaced apart.
Right.
I'm like, good God, these are nice. Like they're so beautiful.
Oh yeah, no, they've come a long way for sure. Clifton will tell you, right, Clifton?
Yeah.
Figures aren't what they once were. That's for sure.
That's a slippery slope, though. If you start collecting, nice looking figures.
Oh boy, is it? But no, and I love the movie too. The movie's great, and I got to thank Spider-Verse for it because Spider-Verse gave us this. You know, and I love sort of the sketchy, doodling on your book cover, right? Look to it. And the toy line is just like it does the style beautifully, I think.
I have not seen it. Not yet.
Yeah. Next time you're at Target, take a look. They're really
I've seen the figures. I've seen the figures. I've not seen I've seen the toys. I'm saying I've not seen the actual like the film?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen the film yet.
It's good. It's good.
Okay.
I liked it a lot too. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Definitely check it out.
Okay. I will.
All right. For my next favorite thing, again, you went with a surprising one, Zach. Mine's completely not surprising. Mine was on my list. It's either the one that Tommy or I picked as our most excited thing for this coming year, looking forward to 2023 at the time. And that is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Jump into video games. Now, this is much anticipated follow-up to Breath of the Wild, 2017's, record-breaking Zelda entry in the series, which was an open world, like much more open world than any of the Zelda games had been before, which had been, a little bit open world before, but like completely open world this time. So it's the follow-up to that. And this one, like a lot of my favorites this year, like the one I'm listing are all kind of sentimental favorites because, like you all know, listeners don't know, I had a pretty tough year with my mom. I had lost my mom to cancer in the latter part of this year. And, there were just some things that helped, things I had along the way. Like I spent a lot of nights in the hospital, in the summer into the fall and staying there. And the fact that like, I don't want to, like, it seems kind of weird to like, think about pop culture, like really helping kind of in these things, but
I don't think it does. I don't think it's weird at all.
Yeah. It is one of those things where like, you're faced with difficult things, you're faced with real things and you think like, oh, like like we all love pop culture, obviously. Like that's why we do this stuff. Like we're really into this stuff and we really enjoy it. But then you think like, does it matter? Like really, does it matter?
Right.
And like sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does really matter. And the nights I was in the hospital, like, it's not a pleasant situation and you don't know what's going to happen. It's not a comfortable situation, sleeping in a chair. But like I had my Switch.
Right.
I was able to like, have something like a little bit of just distraction.
Right.
From what was going on and get immersed in this, broad, sprawling fantasy world that I love. Because like I love the Zelda games and like it was just something that helped and like all the three things, the two I've said so far and the next one I'll bring up, they are all just kind of things that like pop culture things that sentimentally helped me this year. And I don't know, you just like I hadn't thought about it much before, like how much some of this stuff does matter, and it doesn't have to be quote unquote cinema to be that important.
Right.
It can just be whatever hits you at the right time or the right moment. And for me, it was one of the things was Tears of the Kingdom. Like it just gave me an escape. It gave me a fantasy world to like take my mind off of stuff, even when I was in the bad times. And just to address the game itself, it was so surprising because I thought after having played Breath of the Wild, like how do you follow that up? Like, and this is a direct sequel, which hardly ever happens in the Zelda series. They're usually reimaginings, kind of like reboots, sort of. And only a few times have they ever done a direct sequel. And this is one of those times. And I was like, how are they going to do it? And it takes place in the same map. It takes place on the same world. So I'm like, how are they going to make this new? And they do by giving you a whole like two new sections to explore above and below your old map, which is an interesting idea. So you've got like Kingdom in the Sky plus a Kingdom Underground now on the map that you thought you had explored every bit of before. And Tommy, or our own Tommy Smithereens, and I, when we were talking about the game because he's a huge fan, like he pointed out to the game where he's like, it combines the two games you love the most, which are Legend of Zelda and Minecraft, because they introduced like this building aspect to this game where you can just build anything you want in this game somehow magically.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I remember I was driving. I took my family and I had gone with my brother-in-law, his family, to the beach for a few days, nearly a week. And it was around the time the game came out, and I've been meaning to mention it to you since then, and I keep forgetting, but now that you say this, where it was a roundtable on NPR talking about the nostalgia for the game, the first one for Breath of the Wild, as well as the fact that the anticipation of this game, and just how a lot of the stuff of like how do you overcome stuff in this one, it's ingenious because you can just build stuff to do whatever you need to do.
Right. Yeah, and when you play this one, like you'll be confronted with a challenge, you'll be confronted with something you have to do, and every player does it. I did this. First, you think of Breath of the Wild, and you're like, how would I do this in Breath of the Wild? And a lot of times you're like, oh, like I can't do it yet. I need to go, build up my character. I need to go get more stamina. I need to go get more hearts or whatever. And then I'll come back and do it. But then I was like, oh no, like I can just make a hot air balloon and fly to the top of this thing right now.
Right.
Yeah. You have to have that realization to realize like, oh, this is like the rules have changed in this game.
Right. Yeah. That's what a lot of people mentioned was just that aspect of it of like, oh no, I don't have to build the bridge necessarily.
Right.
I can, like you said, I can build a jetpack if I can find all the pieces and jetpack myself up to wherever I need to get to or whatever, which sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I am enjoying it. I've not finished it though.
Okay.
Again, it's one of those things where like now it's an adventure that I don't want to end, like sentimentally. Where I'm like, I will finish it. I know I'll finish it. I just don't want it to be over yet. I'm close. I'm pretty close to the end game on it, but I don't want it to be over. So I'll get back to it. But it is a phenomenal game. So it's not lack of it being good that has me, not finishing it yet. It's because it's so good that I'm not finishing it yet.
Yeah, you're pacing yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my number 2.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up your mom, and
Mhm.
I think it'll illuminate a little bit, like sort of like why our output was not as high this year as it was. I mean, because you had lost your mom,
Right.
and like in literally 2 weeks before that, I lost my dad.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
you
been
There's
know,
been a
and
lot. Yeah, there's
yeah,
been a lot.
it's been a tough year, and it's also I think why my look back at 2023 is kind of thin, to be
mm,
Mhm.
perfectly honest. Like, it was not. I did not consume the most stuff this year, and I certainly didn't consume the most stuff of things from this year. Also,
right.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, last year, we kind of slowed down output a bit. We were trying where we could, and then things, like, to paraphrase Across the Spider-Verse, some things good, some things bad, some things very bad
Mhm.
right.
happening. So yeah, that's where we've been coming from uh,
Mhm.
this past year. But yeah, we're really happy to be back here doing this show that we really love doing.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And I think we have one more round of our favorite things from 2023 to go. So you got one more, Frank, for us. One more of your favorites.
Yeah, I've got one more. This was another late one that I was kind of surprised when I heard the announcement of how it was going to be distributed.
Mm,
Um, and it was one of those things where I was, anticipating my Christmas break and and the Christmas holiday, and I really was looking forward to when I heard. I got really excited about the fact that What If season 2 is going to come out one right after the other for the entire season.
all right.
That for me was really enjoyable. I really thought it was a lot of fun what if stories, and the idea being that you can take any moment basically in any of the MCU stuff and turn it and basically create a what if story, right?
Right.
And I think without getting too much in the story because not everyone has seen it yet, um, I thought overall that season 2 was great. I know a lot. Some of it was stuff that got postponed from the first season for whatever reason, got bumped into season 2. But I thought it worked well. I thought the voice acting was great. I thought the fight scenes were good. Again, it deals. It's another moment of after all the people that are screaming and crying about why Phase 4 doesn't tie together with the rest of Phase 4. Um, I think the idea that the MCU is still a thing is not, this is not a standalone. This is again dealing with a lot of stuff that we've seen. So therefore, it's tied into everything else, right?
Right.
I know a lot of people's complaints about Phase 4 were like, well, they're just putting stuff out that doesn't all tie together into main, whatever they're going to do for the big crossover, whenever they get to it.
Mm,
But, I enjoyed What If Season 2. I thought it was great. I know, Clifton, you've seen it, but Zach has not.
right.
Yep. I'm holding us back again.
I'll talk a little bit about some of them because, like,
Mhm.
I mean, there were some in it that I was expecting. Like, we
Right.
knew we'd be getting Gamora since that was one that got bumped,
Right.
and it was clear that got bumped because she shows up in the finale of season one. You're like, what's her story? Everyone else had a story, so I knew we were getting that one, and it's good. And I knew we'd be getting because they teased us on more Captain Carter.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew we'd be getting one of those. So like
Right.
the expected ones, like I liked what we got from the ones I expected, like that one.
Right.
And then there was one, which again, it was teased. I'm not going to say what it is to spoil it from Zach, but it was teased in season one of with young Star Lord, with young Peter Quill, because in season one we see him not becoming Star Lord. We see basically Ego's plan coming to fruition
Mm-hmm.
because that's the one where T'Challa became Star Lord, and then we see
Right.
like young Peter Quill, being taken to his father,
Mm-hmm.
and so they come back to that one, which I mean I was kind of expecting that piece, but then I wasn't expecting where that episode went, and I loved that episode,
Mm-hmm.
which I think was episode 2 of
Yeah,
the season.
that's a great one.
Yeah,
And they were fun. I mean, there were fun ones, and there's not, there was some heavy stuff, but it was, it's typical what if.
yeah,
That's one thing about what if is that you're not really beholden to everything else. You're not really having to do, whatever that big overarching plan is. You can just sort of, put a wacky idea out there and play with it. And
mm,
that's one of the things I love about What If the comic as well as What If the show. I thought was great.
right, yeah. All right, Zach, you got one more thing.
I'm gonna. Sorry if I'm jumping ahead. I got two that I'm just gonna do lightning round
Okay,
thing.
that's fine.
I'm just gonna mention them and not go into them.
Okay.
Still digging. Only Murders in the Building.
Okay.
Love it. Season 3 was really really great. Continues to be awesome. One of my highlight watches of the year always. And the other one was I gotta look up the title, and it's not for lack of enjoying it. I love it. It's just the Venture Brothers movie.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
which right. I thought was a very very Radiant is
go ahead.
Me.
The blood of the baboon's heart. No, what is
there
it called?
There we go. Radiant is the blood of the baboon's heart.
Okay.
Right.
Bittersweet send off that it has nothing to do with the plot. I'm not saying bittersweet as far as the plot, just bittersweet that like it's a movie and not a full season.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you can watching it, you can get a sense of sort of like, oh, that would have been an episode, right? Like that's a strong enough idea that would have been an episode.
Sure.
But you know, I mean, they roll with it as best they can, and it's a great movie and a great send off to a great show that you know I wish just could have ended differently.
Yeah,
you know,
I think
or could have got the proper send off.
Right, I agree with you there. I think that it was one of the things where they should have, with all the nonsense that's going on and has gone on at Warner Brothers with trying to turn a profit by slashing and burning all the stuff that they had ready to go. They deserved a season long finale.
Yeah, I agree.
They definitely could have. You know, if you've ever had the pleasure of listening to those two, Jackson Public and Doc Hammer, do any kind of commentary, they themselves admit, you know, every now they're rambling commentaries. Don't expect to learn everything about the particular episode, but you do get some great tidbits. And one of them is they'll focus on a background character, be like, see that guy right there, that guy right there. We could do an entire season on that guy alone.
Right.
So I know full well they could have easily, like you said, fleshed out a lot of what they did in the movie, which was great. I loved the movie. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would have been nice to have them, have the proper time to to basically, fill out all the stuff they had on their whiteboard for it, right. Which I'm sure they did. They had those plans.
I still need to see it somehow. Okay. Again, busy year, but otherwise I would have jumped on Venture. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely top of my list to watch.
There's a joke in there I swear is just for me. Yeah. And I don't say that often with those guys.
Oh, I say it all the time with those guys for me.
No, I know. I mean, that show is practically for you.
Right. I was going to say
for me though, like I don't get a sense that they're writing toward at me very often. Mm-hmm. And there was a joke in there. I'm like, that's Zach's. That's for me.
All right. So for my final one, unlike my other two choices, this one wasn't on my list of things I was looking forward to. It was completely unexpected to me when I saw it. It's not something I was into before, but out of curiosity, I watched One Piece on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And loved it. Huh. Just loved it. The Netflix adaptation. And again, it's one that just hit at just the right time. And if you watch the show, it's goofy, it's charming, it's optimistic, and that's what I needed at the time when this came out. And it was just so nice for it to be like a show about bad pirates, but they're bad because they're good. That's the whole premise of the show, is that or the manga turned anime turned live action adaptation now, is that you've got a kid who was raised around a pirate that was good, it was a good guy, and aspires to be a pirate because he doesn't really know what pirates are. So he's out there trying to be a pirate and isn't a good one because he's too good, because he's not bad.
Right.
And it's just a fun little idea. Again, I think our Tommy was into this, the manga and the anime before the live action series. I was not. I mean, I was aware of it, but I had never read a single one of what I think are I looked it up. It's 107 volumes of manga currently and still going. I don't even know how many anime episodes exist of it now. So jump in on I'm just going to jump in on the show and I'll be fine there. I don't need to go back to the other sources. I don't have time probably to go back to the manga or anime, but the show is good.
Okay.
Just the premise of it. And I can't remember if Tommy's brought it up on the show before when he's been on with us. But the premise is that it's set in like this fantasy world of islands and oceans and pirates. And the king of the pirates gets caught.
Okay.
This is kind of like the backstory of this world, and is being executed for his piracy. And the powers that be think they're stamping out the age of the pirates by executing this pirate king.
Mm-hmm.
And on the gallows, he tells everyone that he's amassed his entire treasure in one place and hid it. And whoever finds it will be the next king of the pirates.
Mm.
And then he's executed. But he turns basically everyone else in the world into like treasure hunting pirates trying to track down his treasure, which is called the One Piece.
So suddenly it becomes like it's a mad world.
Yes.
Trying to find this treasure.
Yes. And all crazy pirates with different gimmicks and different themes and different powers. And then in there you get Monkey D. Luffy, who's like a young man at the time who's wants to be king of the pirates and just goes around helping people. And everyone's like, you're a terrible pirate, because he helps people. And it's charming and it's optimistic and like it just feels good and it's goofy and it's fun and it somehow works. And like I don't know how it works, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. So
awesome.
Yeah. So One Piece was my surprise
nice
favorite thing from last year. I can't wait for more.
I'll do a quick surprise one too. You could leave this in if you want. My quick surprise thing for 2023 is Starbucks.
What?
I discovered coffee.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I think I accidentally got myself addicted to Starbucks.
Oh.
I love their cold brew. I love it. I love it. And am I saying that in hopes that we get a sponsor? Yes.
Sure. Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's my surprising one of 2020.
Very good.
All right. Frank, you got any lightning round stuff? You got any more left?
I was excited for Legion of Superheroes, the DC animated.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. I was hoping for a little different than what we got. I think the only minor disappointment I had with it was the fact that one of the Legion groups I belong to online, people felt comfortable just basically spoiling it the day of it when it came out. So I knew a lot of stuff going into it, so that might have put a damper on things. Some of the characterization was weird, but other than that, I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll second that. I'll add Warworld. Okay. Warworld was the same way.
Okay,
for me, some high highs and some other. It's like okay.
It is available to watch streaming.
Yeah, they're both on Max now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have a lightning round as well. I'll just do a little quick hit on Godzilla -1. Was another surprise hit for me last year. Just coming in at the end of 2023, but it is so good. It's a throwback to old Godzilla movies. Like it's not trying to reinvent anything. It's not trying to be like, too drastically different. It's just trying to make like a classic old Godzilla movie, but really good. And it's so good. You see a lot of people talking about it online, and it's worth all the talk.
Okay.
It's set in post World War II Japan, so not quite the 50s, just in late 40s Japan, and really plays up the post-war aspects that have always kind of been the undercurrent of Godzilla, a lot of kaiju movies, honestly, in Japan. But it also draws attention to the original score, like the original music of Godzilla, which it uses so well in this one. And honestly, I'm trying. I can't remember the name of the composer of the original Godzilla score, but severely underrated score, like in movie history. Honestly, like the original Godzilla score is up there with like everything else. It's way up there for me of just underrated score, underrated music. It's so good. And this one uses, brings it back. and uses it in a perfect place in the film. And Godzilla is a jerk in this one.
All right.
You're not rooting for him, unlike in other ones.
That's a change.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's my quick hit.
Nice.
All right. So that covers some, not all, but I guess a lot of our favorite things from 2023. But I want to take time to look ahead at some of the stuff that's coming out in 2024, some of the stuff we're looking forward to. I know, Zach, you said again, like it's kind of light for you. Like you're just not picking up on a lot, right? Like you're just not picking up on the radar of a lot of what's coming out.
It's kind of a lot. And also what's interesting is I don't know a lot about all of it.
Yeah.
That's coming out too. Where like I tend to like try and figure stuff out, like find stuff out about stuff I'm excited about.
Right.
While having a balance of like letting myself be surprised. I haven't done this with anything that's on this list yet.
Yeah, and like once you told me that when we were talking about it, I was like, yeah, I think, like I'm really kind of the same way. Like it's like my like stuff I'm looking forward to is sparse, and it's not to say like there's not stuff coming out. I just haven't looked to see what's coming out. Stuff just hasn't come across to me. And then I also wondered though, like, is some of it because of the strikes? Like, is there not as much stuff coming out because are these years going to be sparse, like 2024 and 2025, just because the writer's strike and the actor's strike, the producers allowed them to go on, way, way long.
That is a good point.
And is that going to slow down output? I'm not sure. So we'll find out about that. But yeah, I am kind of excited in that I don't know a lot of what to look forward to, because I feel like I will get a lot of surprises this year. There's a lot of stuff like I'll just go to because I go to movies all the time. Whenever anything looks interesting, I'll go see it in the movies. So I feel like there's a lot where I'll be like, oh, that's much better than I was expecting, because I wasn't expecting anything from it. So it's kind of exciting in that way to not know everything, to not have a whole list of like, oh, I got to see this, and this. It'll be just kind of like I'll take it in as it comes. And I'm kind of excited about that. But that said, I do have a few things that I'm excited about that I know for sure I'm excited about. Who wants to go first on something you're looking forward to in 2024?
I'll jump in because one of them is out very soon.
Okay.
So it's a Monsieur Spade.
I've only seen the title. Again, I know nothing about this, but I saw the title.
It's out on AMC.
Okay.
I want to say premiering within the next week or so of when we're recording. Yeah, and it's Dashiell Hammett's Sam Spade.
Okay.
Played by Clive Owen. As far as I know, what I've been able to pick up on some ads, because ads are running because it's close, is basically Sam Spade is trying to retire for a quiet life, right? Like a quiet life out in France, and looks like stuff catches up to him. Stuff finds him, and that's all I really need to know.
Okay.
Awesome scenery, noir. I'm good.
Sounds good. Yeah, all I know about it was the title and Clive Owen. I was like, oh, like Clive Owen. I haven't seen him in a while. That's fun. Yeah, I'll check this one out sometime.
I'll go next. I've got one.
All right.
I've looked it up. I got a couple different dates, so I don't know if it's this next week coming up as we record or the week after. But the ROM Space Knight Omnibus.
Oh, I pre-ordered that.
Volume 1 comes out either this next week or the week after, and I'm super excited.
Uh-huh.
It collects ROM 1 through 29, and then Power Man and Iron Fist number 73.
Okay.
I think I've told the story before about reading the Epic collections. Maybe I didn't tell it on the podcast, but I think I told you guys that when you get to that part of the Epic collection, at least the one that I read, due to copyright or the fact that Marvel couldn't reproduce that issue because ROM is in it,
right.
It gives you a one-page synopsis of what happens in the issue and how ROM is involved, and then goes right into the next issue, which I always thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But now, for whatever reason, Marvel has struck a deal
Right. Yeah.
with Hasbro,
Right.
and is able to reproduce. We got Volume 1 coming, and then shortly after, I think in the second or third quarter of this year, we get Volume 2. I've been a ROM fan. You know, I've got a good run of those books, and finally I collected all of them. But I like character. I like the whole Space Knight deal. I like the Dire Wraths. But to have it in a nice format would be great.
Yeah.
Since we have it, it's not, you can't just get it. I think in Britain you can. I remember seeing, I think it was John McCrae, the artist from Hitman and other stuff, showing off some of his online that were basically bound copies, and I was super jealous that they're available in Britain but not available here. But now we're going to finally have the omnibus, so that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it's something I don't think any of it's on like Marvel Unlimited Digital because of the same copyright issues. So it's just, I feel like this is just going to be something that'll be in print for a while and then not, kind of like the Marvel Conan stuff where that they had the rights back to print that and then that stopped when that rights went somewhere else.
Right.
So I'm taking advantage of it while I can and pre-ordered my omnibus, my Romnibus.
Right. Which one did you get? Do you remember which cover you ordered?
I was torn on the covers because there were two I was narrowed down between, and one was it like a Frank Miller with X-Men?
No, there's one with the X-Men, but it's not. There's one with Frank Miller did the first cover for number 1.
Okay.
Is Frank Miller.
Who did the X-Men cover?
That's a good question.
Because I was torn on the X-Men cover, but I think I got the one that was like the origin cover with like the panels.
That's what I got. Yeah,
that's the one I got. I think that's the one I got.
It's a cool like origin page, right?
Yeah. No, it's a really cool page.
Yeah. No, that's the one I got too. Was the origin? He comes from the stars. That one's I loved. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. So the cover is like a full page of comic is the cover of this omnibus.
It's the house ad, right? That was what it was.
Yeah.
From back in the early 70s or the late 70s, I should say. That was the house ad was for that. But the X-Men one is like speaking of that, they just like in comic shops, again, for whatever reason, they put out like a small collection of, I think it's like 4 issues. But it's the X-Men 2-parter and then the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants crossover.
Okay.
Which basically, it basically not. I don't think it's ever been reprinted, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited. I can't believe they're finally doing this. I'm even more excited. There's a lot of rumors about the possibility since Marvel Legends, the Hasbro figure line, has just done Crystar. That ROM is soon to follow as a Marvel Legend.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's a legit, not a rumor, an actual thing in the pipeline, but we'll see. So
okay. That would be cool.
All
right. So first thing that I know I'm looking forward to is Lisa Frankenstein.
Okay.
Which is a more comedy than horror movie, I think, coming out in early 2024 still. Let me find the date on that. Yeah, February 9th. So only a few weeks off from now. It is written by Diablo Cody.
Okay.
Of Juno and Jennifer's Body, which I liked both of those movies, actually. I like Jennifer's Body quite a bit.
It's a good movie.
And directed by Zelda Williams, who is the daughter of Robin Williams. Also the voice of who was she in Legend of Korra season 4 or the final season? Zach, help me out.
Zelda Williams? Oh, Kuvira.
Kuvira, yes. She was also Kuvira.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Zelda Williams, Diablo Cody, starring Catherine Newton from Ant-Man, Quantumania, and Freaky, which was the body-swapping horror movie.
It's a good one.
With Vince Vaughn, which is a very fun movie. She's great in that. And Cole Sprouse.
Jughead's in it.
Jughead from Riverdale is in this. And it's a take on Frankenstein where she's wants to meet the perfect guy, so she makes him is the premise of this.
Right.
So, and I've seen the trailers. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I just looked at the synopsis. I like the fact I'm more excited about the fact of when it's set. That's surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's set in 1989.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very cool.
With Catherine Newton as a misunderstood teenage goth girl who reanimates a handsome corpse from the Victorian era. That's our premise.
Gotcha.
I'm looking forward to it.
I will check it out.
Nice.
All right. You got another one, Frank? Or Zach?
I have another one.
Okay.
And this is another comic book one. But this is not actual like a comic book work. This is an actual art book that I'm very excited for.
Okay.
In July of this year, there will be David Mazzucchelli's Batman Year One Artist Edition coming out.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I'm very, very excited for this. Love Mazzucchelli's work on Year One. I like Mazzucchelli in general, but Year One is just beautiful. Chip Kidd's doing the book. He's designing it.
Nice.
Should be really, really nice, really well put together.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just going to basically give us, a lot of the, again, house ad pieces, a lot of the stuff that went into making Year One with Frank Miller. It says the entire groundbreaking story is included in this 14 by 21 inch collection. So I guess we are getting the whole story, but blown up to giant size. So yeah, it's on my must buy list.
Nice.
Very excited for that. Can't wait. When I saw that, I was like, oh, this is one that's been long time coming. I'm finally glad they're getting around to doing it. So, yep, July. This is released on July 2nd.
All right.
Look for that wherever fine comic books are sold.
Can't wait.
Yeah, right?
It's going to be nice.
Yeah.
Since you set me up with Batman, Batman Cape Crusader. I don't know. I assume it's coming out in 2024. That's one of those cartoons that was announced the same time as My Adventures with Superman. So we have a poster that Bruce Timm drew. Bruce Timm's attached to this. We know a couple of writers that are attached to it. I know Ed Brubaker's in the writer's room for this.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know a whole lot about it other than, it's been said that it's Bruce Timm's if he got to do everything he wanted to do on Batman the Animated Series, it would be this show.
Yeah.
So at the very least, there's going to be a trailer. We're going to see footage of it this year, I at least think.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those. I feel like it's going to be like they did with My Adventures with Superman, where it's going to be static image, and then here you go. Here's 4 episodes.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be this year because it had a little shaky. It was rumored to have been canceled, and then it got picked up somewhere else, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Prime is going to get it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So hopefully soon. Hopefully this year. Hopefully 2024 is the year. I'm curious to see it. But again, yeah, not much to go on yet.
Yeah. A little thin.
Yeah.
A little thin right now.
Right.
Let's see. The other thing, it's really the only other. Well, there's a few other things, but the only other thing I'm really going to get into that I'm looking forward to, that I'm excited about, is Furiosa.
Okay.
Which is the prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, and it is set to come out May 24th, 2024. So right before summer. And stars Anya Taylor-Joy as a younger Imperator Furiosa, the role played by
Charlize.
Yeah, Charlize Theron. I was drawing a blank on the name. Role played originally by Charlize Theron. This one also stars Chris Hemsworth with a big beard
and nose.
Yes. Which I didn't quite recognize him at first in the trailer. I think it looks like he's having fun though in it.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's having fun in this movie. Directed by George Miller again, written by George Miller and Miko Lathoris. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Fury Road.
Yeah. What's not to love?
Yeah.
I'm a little cautious and nervous just because Fury Road, I think, took so many people by surprise.
Right.
And it's just tough because we're expecting this one now,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it looks great.
So yeah, Furiosa, that's definitely one I'm looking forward to. And like I said, I haven't looked up a whole lot of others. So what do you got for a lightning round? What do you got that I should be looking forward to?
Okay, so lightning round, what I got is man, I can't believe I'm saying this. The Mr. and Smith TV show.
Okay.
I never it is not a movie that's near and dear to my heart or anything like that. I was never asking for a Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV show. I saw the trailer and I'm like, man, I think you got me.
Yeah.
I think you got me on this one. I don't know. It looks more charming to me than the movie did, and I think that's really the key.
Okay.
So there's that. The Burrows. I have a title. That's it. I know
Okay.
it's the Duffer Brothers new show.
Okay.
Stranger Things, guys.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's all I need. All right, I'm
Right.
good. I'll go. I have Unfrosted, a Pop-Tart story.
Okay. About
Which
the
is
Pop-Tarts Bowl mascot?
Which is the movie that Jerry Seinfeld is directing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You know, for whatever, I mean, people have like creators that are like near and dear to their heart, and for whatever reason, Seinfeld's mine. I really find myself kind of like admiring kind of the unconventionality of his career.
Okay.
Where, like, you know, comedian, monster
Right.
show that apparently that we think is going to be on television perennially.
Yeah.
And then instead of going to movies, goes back down to stand up.
Right.
Mhm.
Except for the B movie.
Except for B movie, which was like an animated thing that he
Right.
wrote, which is also like out of left field.
Right.
And Comedians with Cars Getting Coffee, also like, you know, which is a joy to watch. And it's like what is it? So this is his first thing that he's directing. I mean, he's directed like comedy films, like you know, stand up comedy films for people. But this is the first like narrative thing he's directed. Like he's never directed an episode of Seinfeld. You know, so I'm curious that like does he have chops? And also like then the subject matter is just like weird. Like, all right, he's gonna do a Pop-Tart movie. All right, whatever.
All right.
So there's that, and then the last one is Ripley, which is a show on Netflix that's based on the talented Mr. Ripley.
Okay. Not Ellen Ripley.
No, not Ellen Ripley. Talented Mr. Ripley, which is a movie that I'm appreciating more and more the more I think about it. It's in my Style Hall of Fame. Yes, I have a list on my phone that's Style Hall of Fame people and movies and things. So I don't know anything else about it, but you know, I'll check it out. I'll check out the first one at the very least. That's on Netflix, I think.
All right.
Weird 2024 list.
What do you got, Frank, for the lightning round?
I have, I guess what do we get? The only one real MCU movie, which would be Deadpool 3.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I forgot that was this year.
I know that you know, there's rumors abounding about who and what's in it.
Right.
I know Ryan Reynolds himself was like, "Hey, please stop showing. We're trying to do some cool stuff. Please stop showing set photos."
Yeah.
Echo is out. I know that just dropped.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I guess, MCU is we're supposed to get the Agatha Harkness show at some point.
Okay.
The only other thing I had was late fall on Max. It'll be James Gunn's debut with Creature Commandos.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I am incredibly excited for. I think it's a great concept. I love the concept of it. The idea that, you know, monsters fighting Nazis during World War II. It's kind of hard to beat. It's an animated series. All the voice actors are cast to play the live action if they ever come about. But it's the first four-way we're going to get in the new DCU. So I'm very excited whenever we get that, whenever it's announced for sometime this next year.
All right. I forgot about some of those. Yeah, Creature Commandos. Again, we got a picture.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
And then we'll get a whole show.
Right.
Nothing in between. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. All right. So for our last segment we're going to do tonight, we're going to do some New Year's resolutions about the show, about pop culture, about whatever. First, I forgot one of my favorite things from 2023, which is when me and Frank and Zach and our permanent guest Devon Sanders went to the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. to watch Werewolf by Night, scored by a live orchestra, the National Symphony Orchestra, in fact, right before Halloween.
Yeah.
At the end of October, which was a fantastic evening with the director Michael Giacchino, who I now know how to pronounce his name,
right?
Because I didn't before.
No, I definitely butchered it many times.
Yeah.
So director Michael Giacchino, director of Werewolf by Night, and composer for more movies than I can name or count, including The Batman and Coco and many of the MCU movies.
Planet of the Apes.
Lost.
Yeah.
That's where I first saw him, was on Lost.
Okay, a very prolific composer and talented director. Was the host of the evening where he showed us, where the orchestra played excerpts from some of his favorite scores from horror movies or spooky movies, showed us his home movies that they scored with some of his own score from Super 8. And then showed us it was the premiere of the colorized version of Werewolf by Night.
Right.
Which I think we talked about this before we went. It was like, I don't know if I need to see the color version. Right. I love the black and white version.
Black and white's fine.
And I still love the black and white version. But if I was going to see the color version, that is the way to see the color version, was with a live National Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up because that was one of my favorite things from 2023.
It was a fun night. Shout out to Devon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just forgot that one, wanted to get it in there. But yeah, moving on to New Year's resolutions. So, I mean, the New Year's resolutions I'm thinking about are just stuff to do with the show. Like after last year, we had just not able to be as regular as we would have liked. Understandably so, with everything we told you we've been going through, me and Zach, everything. But this year, like I love doing the show. So New Year's resolution is to try to get back a little more regular. Be bringing the episodes out. I enjoy recording them. I enjoy putting them out. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, let's do it.
You all got anything else?
I would like to try and stay a little more current. Just for me, for my own taste. I always feel like I'm 2 years behind everybody.
No.
So that's mine. Just personally, I want to write more. I'm definitely gonna. I want to do that more this year for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The only thing I was thinking was I was thinking possibly trying to get us guests.
Oh, that's a good one. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, there's lots of conversations I'd love to have.
Putting out some feelers, seeing if we can actually get a guest or two.
Yeah, I mean, not that Devon's not enough, and he will be back, but
absolutely,
yeah. It's fun conversations to be had.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd enjoy it. And one thing I was thinking is I'm interested in trying to figure out like different kind of approach to some pop culture conversations. Because just in general, I feel like some of the pop culture conversations have become a little too binary. Like people have lost the subjectiveness of it. Where everything becomes like it's either garbage or it's the best thing ever.
Right.
And like if you like something that has, less than 73% on Rotten Tomatoes, you're deviant because that's trash. Like how could you like that? And if you don't like something that has more than 78%, then you're deviant because that everyone agrees that thing's the best thing. I think that's how pop culture conversations have gone recently. And I'd like to find more subjectiveness in there. Like why, like, what's this thing why does this connect with us that, other people didn't have that experience. I had this experience. This is why, like, I like this thing. This is why. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Figure out how to approach things that way.
You'd think it would go without saying, but it really has become forgotten.
Yeah.
I thought about that when you're talking about your mom. Like, you know, I mean, there's no high art, there's no low art. That doesn't exist in my opinion. Like people glean meaning from things that they glean meaning from.
You're right. What hits you right?
Yeah.
Just finding some more room for those conversations.
Yep, I agree. Nothing wrong with a little middle ground as opposed to the extreme of either end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And then a few episode ideas. Like there's stuff we've talked about that I definitely would like to hit. I mean, I want to do an episode and this came about partly because of One Piece, where I want to approach look at some adaptations and focus on like adaptations that shouldn't have worked but did work. Kind of like One Piece, where I was like, I'm astounded that it works, but it works. And and ones that didn't work. And counterpoint being like Cowboy Bebop, which did not work. And like, I don't understand why one did and one didn't.
Right.
It's interesting. I think that's something I want to explore for an episode. Anything else you want to jump into? Like any previews of things to come?
That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, the adaptations is one that we've been offlining a lot and trying to figure out like an angle on it. You know, I know we got 25th anniversary Batman Beyond coming up.
Yeah,
you know, as a topic. So look for that one soon. I did in 23 I did a reread of Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces. I'd like to do a Campbell centric hero's journey episode. Yeah, and we'll try. I'll say that because I mean you could take college courses on that, and we'll try and do it for an episode or two.
Right.
But no, it's good, and it's prevalent in everything that we love, everything that we talk about on this show. So, yeah.
All right, so that's our New Year's resolutions and some things to look forward to from us as the year goes on. So let us know what some of your favorite things were for 2023. Let us know what we missed. Let us know what you're looking forward to this year as things come out. You can check out all of our past episodes on our website, letmeknowhowitis.com, as well as anywhere you find podcasts. Just please, if you enjoy the show and feel so inclined, give us a like or follow and leave a review. It really helps us out. Finally, if you would like to suggest a topic, send it our way by email at info@letmeknowhowitis.com and hit us up wherever you find us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, thanks for listening.